Seen it?
Definitely no. 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 Nope.
Boring. So many channels, nothing's on.
Welcome to Myth Crackers.
Oh.
That was fun being on that show. What was it we were trying to prove again?
Don't know, don't care. Blow it up. But you know, I was thinking, if we did their show, shouldn't they do our show?
A Simpsons special?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Hi.
Hey,
Who's this?
it's Al Jean.
Okay. Hi, Al.
Pleased to meet you.
Jamie, it's Al Jean,
I'm sorry.
the executive producer and the showrunner of the best animated series ever and the longest running scripted show on television, The Simpsons.
Oh, The Simpsons. Welcome, Al.
You were thinking South Park.
So, are we going to be animating?
No, look, their writing staff is packed with science and math geeks, right?
110%.
And they try and hold to the laws of physics, right?
Yeah.
Conservation of mass, it's the law.
Ish. We're gonna do a couple stories from The Simpsons.
Like what?
Okay, we've got one where Bart throws a lit cherry bomb into the sewer system of his school and turns all of the toilets in the school into geysers.
One of my favorite episodes, The Crepes of Wrath.
Okay, that works. What else?
We have another one where Homer protects his house from a 5,000-pound wrecking ball by putting his body between the wrecking ball and the house.
So, cartoon physics in the real world.
That's Jamie excited.
He's excited to get out of this room.
Yeah, probably. Now, it is one thing to look at physics from the movie world and see how realistic they are in the real world. It's another entirely to try that with a cartoon. And in investigating Homer versus the wrecking ball, Jamie's tackling the wrecking ball, and I've got to build a full-size Homer with all the same dimensions, body mass, and water content as if Homer was a real person.
Yep, to determine the kinetic energy implications of Homer's heroic intervention, the size and mass of the key animated elements have to be accurately translated from Springfield to the real world.
So, Al, we really strive to be as accurate as possible on this show.
So I'm hoping you can supply us with some real-world dimensions of Homer. Lights. How tall is he?
Well, you have to be really accurate. He's 5'11", and that's what the animators always use.
What about his shoe size?
11 and a half.
Those are almost exactly my dimensions.
Well, the good news for you is you have less stomach and more hair.
Speaking of his stomach, how much does Homer actually weigh?
Well, about 240, but we think 239 is funnier, so 239.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Homer Simpson, full size. Al, thank you so much. I'm gonna leave you alone with the donuts. Is that okay?
They'll be gone when you're back.
Donuts.
Armed with Homer's exact specs, Adam commences the construction of an animated American icon.
USA! USA!
Starting with upholstery foam,
That's pretty good.
Adam utilizes a method with familiar, family-friendly results.
This technique that I'm using of gluing an open-cell urethane foam to itself is referred to as additive foam building. Because instead of like casting and mold making in flexible foam, I'm physically building the parts that I need out of sheet foam.
What you might not know, this is how all your Muppets were made. Yep. Same technique.
There we go. Do I look like Homer at all? Hi. Hey, Jamie. Check it out.
Look at you, homie.
I'm Fomer now, not Homer. I'm Fomer Simpson. How you doing?
So we're gonna put you on the sphere, and you're gonna be the Homer, are you?
No, I will not. You are not allowed to touch this ever again. You're filthy. Bye.
Bye.
With the arms starting to take shape, it's onto Homer's famously tubby torso.
This kind of work, it brings me right back to the sense memory of being the mid-90s working in commercial special effects. It was just like this. Super short timelines, tight budgets, and when we needed something carved out of foam, we didn't have time to find someone who was an expert in foam carving. We just had to figure that stuff out for ourselves, job by job, piece by piece. It's been 20 years and I'm still doing the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Doesn't look like much, but that's gonna be Homer soon.
A series of cylindrical discs glued together form the tapered shape.
Yeah!
The human-like mass and density will come later. For now, Adam's immersed in his art.
I know exactly what it feels like to be Michelangelo. Well, maybe not exactly, but, just like a little bit. If he carved in foam and made cartoon characters.
This is what we call a shop shower.
Next, the arms are attached to shoulder joints. And the legs are measured, cut, and positioned on the posterior.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen.
And with those foam pieces of the puzzle in place,
All right, I'm pretty happy with that. That's looking a lot like Homer.
Adam heads out for help with Homer's head.
This is the center of what used to be Industrial Light and Magic. Now, behind that blue door is legendary machinist Merrick Cheney, who built armatures for the stop-motion films Nightmare Before Christmas and a million other movies, and he's going to help us get Homer's head screwed on right. So, Merrick, how's this going to work?
So we've taken your model of Homer's head. I've converted it into a machinable file, and I've cut it up into like 8 chunks.
That is cool.
And they all fit together kind of like a three-dimensional puzzle.
And that 8-piece puzzle will form a central cavity, a negative space mold of Homer's ironically large cranium.
So there you go. That is mold block number 1, comprising the bottom left side of Homer's face, the front part. That's number 1 of 8.
While Adam waits for all 8, the Heineman has been concocting an ingenious plan.
In the cartoon, Homer appears to be on a wrecking ball that's about as tall as he is. And because it's so much larger than a real-world wrecking ball, I've got to make my own. And that's not exactly an easy task. But I've got an idea. Easy as pie.
The task at hand is to build a custom wrecking ball the same dimensions as the one in the clip, but weighing in at a realistic 5,000 pounds.
So you're starting to get the picture?
It's a unique manufacturing assignment the Heineman is tackling in his own unique way.
There are a lot of different ways of making a big, heavy ball, but the quickest and easiest way I know of to do it would be with steel-reinforced concrete. Now, to do that, you need a mold, and I've come up with an idea of creating what amounts to a hemispherical-shaped auger that I can chuck onto the back of some earth-moving equipment and dig 2 hemispherical holes right in the ground. It looks like it might sort of just make it. We pour our concrete in there around a steel armature, let it cure, put them together, and you got a ball. One big-ass heavy ball.
Yep, to make 2 hemispherical molds
It's working!
for the 2 halves of the concrete wrecking ball,
That's what I'm talking about.
Jamie's designed and constructed a one-of-a-kind tool.
This is working great. Next. The rig didn't break. It's made a nice symmetrical half sphere. It's clearly solid enough to have concrete poured in it. It's perfect, which is what's going to happen pretty much next. Oh, look at that.
The steel armature made back at the shop will provide structure for the concrete half shells. And you could say the Heinemann is happy.
This is working exactly like I had in mind. Normally, if you want to make a big sphere like this, you'd start off with a big chunk of foam, you'd carve it into a sphere. Our little hose are perfect. You'd put fiberglass over it, and then you'd make another mold of the interior cavity, and it'd take several people pretty much all week long just to accomplish this. Instead of doing that, we just dug a hole. I'm just saying.
With the concrete shaped and edged with matching seams, phase 1 of Jamie's big ball is complete.
Now that has to sit for about a week and a half, and then we're gonna pull that one out, turn it upside down, and put it on top of this one. And we'll bond the two things together, and we've got a wrecking ball.
With 2 weeks before Jamie can wreak wrecking ball havoc, it's back to the shop for part 2 of this Springfield spectacular.
So what's next?
Toilet bomb. Al, you want to do the honors?
Thank you, Adam. Well, in one of the early episodes of The Simpsons, Bart flushes a cherry bomb down the toilet.
So long, sucker.
And it immediately sends geysers of water shooting out of every toilet on the block.
So explosives in toilets. I'm thinking we should start small scale.
I totally agree. I am licensed to drive this. Oh, whoop.
The scale we've chosen is not that small, it's 50%. And the reason for that is that water doesn't scale well. If we double the size of the pipes the water's in, we're more than doubling the water's volume. And the physical behavior of the water also changes a lot more. So that's why we're limiting our scale reduction to 50%.
I have to stick the tongue out, otherwise it doesn't work.
The myth is that an explosion will travel through a plumbing system, causing multiple geysers out of the toilets. That's the bowl, and that's where the magic happens. And to test that, we're gonna do 3 things. Number 1, I'm gonna make 3 transparent working toilets so we can really see what happened when things go boom. Number 2, I'm gonna connect them with an accurate waste disposal system.
2 more like that, I think we're good to go.
And finally, we're going to be introducing a cherry bomb-like explosion into that system, and, well, then we're gonna see what we see.
Recreating Springfield Elementary's plumbing system sounds elementary,
Melting my brain.
but it's anything but.
Wow. I'm trying to work out how to do this, and because I'm molding it, effectively I have to think upside down and backwards. So the negative space here, you see, I'm going to fill with a stone plaster. So that when the stone plaster sets, I'll pull out all the bead foam, and I'll be left with a toilet negative, the front to which I will mount a piece of acrylic. Excellent. So that we can see what's happening in the toilet. It's gonna be freaking awesome.
And after the plaster is set, the negative space molds are removed
Okay, 1.
to reveal the balls.
Number 2. Number 2, get it? Because never mind.
And once they're cleaned up and dried out,
A little bit of an oven.
Adam mounts them and seals the system with a transparent sheet of 1/2-inch acrylic.
I get excited about a good experimental rig. There we go. She is a freestanding toilet sculpture. I think it's time to flush a toilet.
So long, sucker.
I want to watch one of these work right now. Now, right here, this is where the important part of the functionality of a toilet is about to happen. We think of toilets as like there's water and it's water all the way down, but it's not. Toilet systems are mostly air, and here's how it works. If you put more liquid in the system than it can handle, it just spills over here. Now, if I flush this toilet by putting more water in, check out what happens. That works just like a toilet.
But that's only half the story.
Now that the toilets are finished and actually working, it's time to plumb them into a system. Excellent. Okay. See, the toilets in Bart's school would have all been connected to a central set of pipes. That's what I'm about to build in scale. So here we go. Go. You're supposed to cut.
The plumbing beneath the bowls is crucial.
Good.
To accurately model the pressure wave effects of Bart's bomb, it has to be set up just like a 3-stall school sewage system. Complete with 2 crucial effluent outflows, the system has multiple exits for the blast. And with that, this Simpsons special Game of Thrones
Fire in the bowl! Explosion in 3.
is ready for blast-off.
Go.
Welcome to Myth Crackers.
Adam and Jamie have hit Springfield again.
Tonight, we take on the classic myth that a cat will always land on its feet.
But this time, instead of experimenting as animated characters,
What was it we were trying to prove again?
Don't know, don't care.
they're animatedly experimenting. And with a transparent trio of toilets ready to blow, they want to know if Bart's bomb could have really gushed multiple geysers.
Now, what happens when you flush a cherry bomb down one of these toilets?
Well, it's going to go down through the plumbing, and it could blow anywhere.
It could blow here, it could blow here, it could blow down there.
That's actually what these black caps are. These are places in the plumbing system we can introduce the pressure from the cherry bomb.
But we're not going to use a cherry bomb. Not in my shop, we're not. Number 1, it's illegal. And number 2, it's potentially dangerous and definitely very messy, so we're going to need a little bit more control if we're going to do it here. For that, we have my little pop gun, which has a fast-acting valve on it that releases a blast of pressurized air. And that's essentially what an explosion does. It creates a volume of rapidly expanding gases in a pressure wave. So we're going to plumb my little pop gun into Adam's rig in various places, adjust the pressure, and see what happens. 20 PSI?
Yeah, that's a big fat dump of pressure. Nice.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right, I'm gonna count it down. Cherry bomb, half-scale toilet experiment, position number 1, explosion in 3, 2, 1, go. Go.
A simultaneous tsunami and the physics of Springfield are looking surprisingly accurate.
This first test showed that pressure delivered to the middle toilet was pretty evenly distributed to the other toilets around it. It's quite pretty, actually.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a water ballet.
Some sort of modern art. Now we want to know what would happen if the cherry bomb and its pressure went here or here. Would that make any difference? I don't know about you folks, but whenever I go to the toilet, I always take my umbrella.
Half-scale cherry bomb toilet experiment, position number 2. 2. Explosion in 3, 2, 1, go. That's very satisfying.
Another successful concurrent eruption.
Position number 3, go.
One that's replicated regardless of where the explosion originates.
Which kind of makes sense because there's resistance in each of these toilets. And so with multiple inlets, that resistance is going to tend to equalize the pressure.
Yeah.
The pressure spread is plausible, but Adam has an issue with volume.
Now, up until now, we've been experimenting with a properly set up plumbing system, but it's not quite the fountain of water that we see in the show because there's just not enough water in the system. But what if there is a clog in the system? Here we go. The clog could have water backed up in that system, and the cherry bomb could go in that, and then it's pushing water. What do you think?
That's about got it.
All right. What happens to that water? Does it come out of the toilets? I kind of think so, but we're gonna try it just to make sure. All right, this is a fully clogged toilet system. 3, 2, 1, go!
I think we found the explosion we were looking for. Well, aside from being pretty to look at, our half-scale system has demonstrated exactly what we were hoping, and that is the Simpsons-like fountain water shooting out of the toilet behavior from a cherry bomb thrown into the system. So I think we're going to go full scale. I think we're going to detonate our cherry bomb back behind some clogged up water. The question we have when we go to full scale, will the cherry bomb actually generate the pressure we need? We don't know. That's why we're going to do it.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
While the crew completes the cleanup, the epic odyssey of Homer's heroic intervention continues. Because Jamie's big ball has hardened. And his distinctly unconventional plan has paid off.
The dirt infilling technique seemed to work pretty well. I feel like I just planted a big potato. It's created a more or less hemispherical inside, which is exactly what the plan was. So it looks, it's looking pretty good.
Next, he makes the two halves a whole and seals the deal with a super strong sealant.
This is a specially formulated epoxy for anchoring things in concrete. So my plan worked exactly as I had in mind, and we've got a nice spherical shape. A little chiseling and a little mortar, and this thing will clean up real nice, and we'll have one heck of a big wrecking ball.
With that, Jamie heads back to the shop, where Homer's head has just arrived.
Dude, look at that. That is so pretty.
That's a nice smooth surface. Now that we have these lovely molds of Homer's head, we're going to coat the insides with a tinted latex because that'll give us the correct color and also a nice, tough skin. We don't get to do this kind of thing that much on MythBusters anymore because we're too busy blowing crap up and stuff like that. But I have done literally hundreds of applications of latex like this into various sorts of puppets and masks, whether you puppet them live action or you have a stop motion armature in them or whatever you do. Generally, it's done by covering the inside of a mold with latex like this and then filling it with foam.
Once the latex skin is dried, Jamie fills Homer's head with a two-part pouring foam.
Now this stuff expands about 4 to 1, and it's a little hard to estimate Homer's head volume. All I can see is that it's much larger than mine, as hard as that is to believe. You want to help me pull this thing apart?
15 minutes later, the foam is set.
There you go. It's coming.
And Homer's precisely proportioned profile is revealed in all its glory.
Oh, it's kind of heavy.
Oh, that looks awesome. Totally fantastic.
For the finishing touches, Jamie paints Homer's famously unshaven mug.
Starting to look like Homer.
Adam coats his torso with waterproof rubber. And Jamie adds the ears and those instantly recognizable eyes.
Kind of comes to life when you do that.
So Homer is very, very nearly complete. We've painted all of his body parts, including his head and now his hands, a suitable shade of Simpsons yellow. After this, we'll send his measurements out to our seamstress to make him a full set of clothes. Then it's time to take him out to the location and abuse him.
To recap, Homer supposedly protects his house by placing himself between a wrecking ball and his house and absorbing the shock with his body. In order to test this, we are absolutely, of course, going to need a wrecking ball. Check.
Well, that's a big-ass ball.
We are also going to need a house to swing this wrecking ball into. So we decided to build our own. Actually, we built two. We're always painting some before we destroy it. There's a very good reason, because what we want to find out is whether Homer would have made any difference to the wrecking ball's effect on his house. All right, let's go. Therefore, that's our control house. We're going to swing just a straight old wrecking ball into it. It's only when we get to this one that we're going to strap Homer to that wrecking ball and find out if the amount of destruction is actually different, i.e., less on this one. Now, it's a home worth protecting. Yeah, perfect.
In the demolition industry, wrecking balls are kind of iconic.
Jamie wire brushes his balls every morning.
But we've come to find out that they don't actually use them that much anymore. Now it looks like it's all business. And when you think about it, it's sort of understandable.
There we go.
Because you get thousands of pounds of weight swinging on the end of a cable, it's not exactly a precision instrument.
You're right on the money. 5,000 pounds is perfect.
Not only that, it's hard on the equipment that swings it. So we've found that whenever we need a wrecking ball, we make our own.
With their accurately sized and weighted homemade Homer wrecker ready to swing into action,
Woohoo! I love having the right hardware.
it's simply a question of lifting it,
I'll hold it up in case it falls.
Awesome.
pulling it back, and letting it go. Right?
Ray, how do you feel about it? You like it?
Wrong.
If it goes out too far, it's going to want to bring the crane over. You understand?
Right. So that's an interesting question. If we pull it back too far and it swings far out, it's going to pull the crane over. Probably the big question is, how far do we pull it back?
To answer that,
I can go 40-foot radius.
Okay. So let's talk this through. That's 40.
the guys look into the limits of the crane's live load capacity.
Let's say the ball hangs here and the crane is here in relation to the house.
Discuss the physics involved.
Force equals mass times acceleration. So once that ball starts to move, it wants to keep going.
And after an hour of tense discussion,
Really, you have no intuition about that whatsoever?
come up with a swing distance of
What if we did 12 feet?
12 feet is significantly less than the freewheeling cartoon capers of Springfield.
Good.
But it's as far as the real-world physics allow.
All right, you like that?
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
And with those parameters in place, guys set up for the control.
Extending now.
You may be wondering why we're not pulling our wrecking ball back quite as far as you see them do in The Simpsons. About 4 feet away. Well, cranes aren't designed to swing heavy weights around like tether balls. If they did that in a heartbeat, they could tip the whole crane right over. Stop. Stop.
Are you happy with that?
You betcha.
In rigging, there are two kinds of loads, a dead load and a live load. A live load is one that moves, and this load is about as live as it gets.
You dig it?
Yeah, I'm just grooving on the vibes coming off of that whole thing. You know?
I didn't know you grooved on vibes.
Sure.
The repercussions of a miscalculation could be catastrophic.
It's just like destruction in potentia.
But the question they're aiming to answer is, what kind of hit will the house take without Homer?
This is Simpsons Wrecking Ball Control minus Homer in 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah! Oh, fabulous. Yeah, the second hit. Oh, yeah. Third hit. Let's go for third hit.
The whole building just is kind
I know.
of shifting.
Well, from a damage assessment, its second story is pretty much a write-off. The chimney's totally destroyed. That's not cheap. Moving through the back, even despite all of our bracing, it's also jacked that back wall back about 8 or 10 inches. Yeah, you'd be looking at a complete rebuild of your second story. This is super cool. We had a camera perched on the top of the chimney to witness the destruction from up there. And when our wrecking ball hit the house and the chimney collapsed, the camera up there landed on the wrecking ball itself, sitting nice and perched. Oh, hi there. Hello. We can cut from this to this shot. Howdy. You did very, very well. He actually hit another camera also mounted on the ball. That is like camera Olympics, man. Well done, little guy.
Our test showed that a wrecking ball hitting a house like this would severely damage any masonry, as well as the framing and the wall of the house, just like it did here.
Now the question is, will Homer make any difference if he gets in between that ball and the house? Honestly, I don't know.
The MythBusters and Toilet Tall Tales go way back.
All right, that's significant.
And to continue this Game of Thrones, they're taking on Springfield's prankster-in-chief. To find out if Bart's Bellagio-esque fountain will translate from the success in small scale to full scale, the Mythcrackers hit the bomb range.
After having played with miniature toilets to our heart's content,
Go.
we're going to assemble 3 real toilets on a platform 7 feet off the ground with a real full-scale plumbing system.
Ready to get started and build this thing?
Can you give me a minute?
Sure.
So that we can cherry bomb it all day long. And believe me, we will.
Yeah, come on.
1 toilet, 2 toilets, 3 toilets.
To recreate the exact same setup as the shop test,
Remember, kids, proper care of your toilet requires brushing twice a day.
but as a standard-sized sewage system,
It's almost like Godzilla.
the guys plumb the multiple inputs.
Yes, that's it.
A gas vent and central waste pipe to a 7-foot-high platform.
Maybe we should just back away a little bit.
And up top, Adam finishes with 3 fully functional toilets.
Hey, that totally worked. All right.
Now, what about the boom that shakes the rest?
Cherry bombs are illegal in the U.S. Okay, I'm going to light it up. You want to get behind the shield?
What?
The only reason that we've got these now is that we're doing it under the supervision of a licensed pyrotechnician and the Alameda County Sheriff's Department bomb squad.
Come on, cherry bomb.
So if you do find yourself in possession of one, don't even think about setting it off. Cute but deadly. It's really dangerous.
Here it comes.
Nice.
Oh, look, the casing's on fire. It's an added bonus.
Room. Under strict bomb squad supervision.
All right.
The guys are using their own MythBusters-made cherry bombs to find out if the fuse will fizzle when wet.
Now, when you hear that Bart throws a cherry bomb into the toilet, let's get to safety, shall we? Come on. Your mind might be set to thinking, I wonder if water would actually put out a cherry bomb's fuse. An excellent question, and one I am just about to answer.
Can't get over how much like a cherry they look.
Here we go. It's about to go underwater. Oh, it's burning underwater.
I don't get it.
So how is it that the fuse on Bart's cherry bomb is able to burn underwater? Well, to burn something, you need 3 things. You need fuel, you need oxygen, and you need a source of ignition. Now, as it happens, the gunpowder that runs along inside this fuse has everything it needs to burn. It has its own fuel and its own oxidizer. So it's quite happy to burn without any kind of exterior source of oxygen.
Every time I learn something new, it pushes some old stuff out of my brain.
Oh! Nice! That was awesome.
With the fuse firing just fine and the cherry bomb packing a punch,
Got it.
it's time to fill up and bring the boom.
Okay, that's it.
Our first cherry bomb experiment with the full-size toilet system is going to replicate the circumstances that we found to be our ideal circumstances in the small scale. That is, the sewer system clogged with water, with the cherry bomb placed under that water.
Right about here. Now, we're going to be lighting this off with an electric spark via these wires, because that'll allow us to place this exactly where we want and set it off exactly when we want from a safe distance. Okay, we're all sealed up. Setting off explosives in the air as opposed to water is really quite different, and that's because air compresses and water does not. So if you apply pressure to water, it'll deliver a shock wave directly to whatever it's connected to, kind of like a hammer blow. Are you ready?
I'm ready. High speed's ready?
Now, in our case, that water hammer can become massive. And 3, and it'll deliver the shock wave through the water, through the plumbing, 2, to anything that it's connected to. 1.
That was catastrophic.
Yeah.
Yep, Jamie's hammer theory nailed it. In contrast to the shop test's Simpsons-like water fountain.
Oh, yes. Hey, this camera's still rolling here.
When faced with the same firepower as a real cherry bomb,
It is a freaking horror show up here.
the standard full-size lavatory fixtures were forced free of their moorings, leaving the porcelain and possibly the myth busted.
Looking carefully at the high-speed footage, you'll notice that water starts coming out beneath the toilets at the same time as it starts coming out the bowls. Now, that means that that water was moving so fast that the toilet's plumbing was not able to absorb the onrush, which is why it broke the toilets off their mounts instead of creating 3 large geysers.
Our cherry bomb gave us a stunning explosion. Unfortunately, it also happened to rip all 3 of our toilets right out of the floor. I have to admit, just approaching a toilet in this stance, on my knees, on the floor, my head above the bowl, does not remind me of some of the happiest times of my life. That pretty good?
Looks good to me.
So we have gone to the measure of bolting them right to the cast iron flanges of the plumbing that they are plumbed to, and that should hold them tight for this test. You ever had a toilet seat cause you trouble? Need to replace it? Don't get around to it for a long time, like most people with their home repairs? I know I'm the same. Putting in a toilet seat is easy. Literally, put it on here, put these 2 things, tighten it. You're done! There was no reason to delay. Should have just taken care of it when it first happened. Procrastination. All right. Doink and doink. And now your toilet's ready for blowing up. I hope this has been a good lesson for you today.
After a quick reset up top,
You know, all evidence to the contrary, I think you and I would make a good pair of plumbers.
this time they place the cherry bomb at the lowest possible point of the plumbing. The guys are hoping the larger volume of water above the explosive will absorb more energy and give them the mythical gushing geysers.
This is it. After small-scale and large-scale experiments, this is the blast we hope will work. We have changed the position of the bomb. Hell, we've even bolted them to their own plumbing, which is totally unrealistic, but it's what we hope it will take to give us the geysers that we're looking for. And it's just about to happen. Are you ready, sir?
I am.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! No force can contain the cherry bomb!
What are you gonna do?
Yep, the power was simply too much. The pressure blast couldn't escape through the narrow plumbing fast enough. And something had to give.
This is clearly why we can't have nice things. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with the power of that blast. This time, instead of putting the toilets on their standard mountings, we through-bolted them into the steel plumbing, and still, that cherry bomb this big had enough power to rip all 3 toilets off their moorings and send them tumbling to their demise. It's not exactly what we saw on the show, but I'm impressed.
What we're seeing is that if you have enough energy to push a lot of water up and out of those toilets using something like our cherry bomb, that same energy and the shock wave that accompanies it is also going to break the toilets off at their bases. They're simply not strong enough to stay in place. So, as far as I'm concerned, using an explosive, you're never going to see the kind of geyser that we saw in the cartoon.
In this house, we obey the laws of thermodynamics.
The cartoons don't reflect reality? Wow, this is big. This is, what is the word? Busted. It's busted. Yes. Yeah! Kicking toilets apart since 1930.
Them some steel-tipped shoes.
With the porcelain pummeled, Adam and Jamie head back to Homer's house, where our humble hero awaits his moment of glory.
Go! Hello, friends. If you're like most people, you probably are sad that you haven't been able to afford your slice of the American dream, but now it turns out that you can. On the outskirts of Springfield, a new development has arisen, one that provides picture-perfect homes if viewed from the right angle. We've reduced homeownership to its barest essentials. 1 wall, 1 couch, 1 floor. Welcome to Shady Acres. Pay no attention to the wrecking ball.
Jamie and Adam are chasing a cartoon conundrum.
Oh, that's his home.
The Homer Record. Can our hero's leap of faith dissipate the force of this impact?
Yeah! You know, it didn't move very fast, but it had quite a kick to it, didn't it?
I mean, that's Newton's second law right there.
Now, we're going to leave all this damage intact as it is.
Ah, couldn't be better.
And go ahead and do the test with Homer on the wrecking ball with the identical house.
Now that is a proper cartoon wrecking ball.
And if it shows damage anything like this, we will know that Homer's efforts would have been for naught.
And ta-da! Allow me to introduce you to the completed, ready-to-be-tested with hero of this episode, Mr. Homer J. Simpson. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause.
Our accurately sized and dressed Homer
There we go.
is attached to the ball exactly as per the clip,
That's it. First arm is on. Okay.
with a final crucial component.
Since part of this is what happens with Homer's body mass on the ball, we need to give him some body mass other than just foam. We're doing that by adding water.
The average density of a human body is within a couple of percentage points of water.
Perfect.
So a water-filled Homer is an almost perfect energy absorption analog for a real person of that size and shape.
Oh, Homer is substantial. Our cartoon character is coming to life.
The question is, with a real-life mass of 239 pounds, can he save his house?
I think we're good to go up.
All right.
It's happening.
We're making sure that we're positioning the ball exactly the same way that we did the first time. We'll let it settle, so the physics should all be the same, except for Homer. Does it look like his ass is dead center?
He couldn't be more perfectly on the horizon of the lines of force between the ball and his house. Look at the potential energy.
As per the control, the velocity on impact may only be a pedestrian 6 miles an hour.
What are we doing?
But with 5,000 pounds of ball,
Who's paying for this? This is awesome.
there's a lot of energy to dissipate.
Say goodbye, Homer.
Can our hefty hero really absorb that impact?
All right, here we go. Homer versus the wrecking ball. The final experiment. 3, 2, 1. Here he goes!
Yeah.
Oh!
That's a result that I never would have bet on.
He's clearly made a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, look at this house and then look at that one.
Wow.
I'm just saying. Homer's ass is quite impressive, actually.
It's an astonishing result. The house didn't escape completely unscathed, but Homer did help.
He did crack the chimney. It almost fell, but the fact is that it didn't, and that's a result.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Identical houses, identical swing on the wrecking ball, but not identical results. Look at that house versus that house. Homer, it would seem, had quite the impact, so to speak.
Well, astonishingly, it turns out Homer did in fact make a difference by placing himself between the wrecking ball and his house. He clearly made a heroic effort, and it had a heroic outcome.
Those cartoonists don't get enough credit for proper engineering.
I am too smart. I am too smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
All right, Al, I got some good news and some bad news. I'm gonna start with the bad news, which is the toilet bomb. Unfortunately, all we got was total toilet destruction. It's busted.
Well, you forget that the school is near a nuclear plant run by idiots.
It's funny because it's true.
And there could be a nuclear explosion at any moment, which means that the toilets are ultra super reinforced, not busted.
I see where you're headed with that.
And the good news?
The good news is Homer Wrecker. We are totally amazed by these results, but the fact is that Homer made a difference. By placing his body between the wrecking ball and his house, he was successfully able to keep it from being damaged.
So you're saying the show is 100% scientifically accurate?
Sure.
Thank you, gentlemen.